Here's the view from Alan Grice's car.
And he's got Alan Moffat just in front of him. He's moved up on Moffat. Moffat making steady progress through the field and started past Grice.
Let's see whether or not Moffat can get away from him through these bends here. And now they're on to Conrad. Let's see whether or not Alan Grice can pick him up with a big V8 power. Doesn't look like it so far. Now he starts to close a little. Down they come to the first hump. Past Jimmy Windsor's place.
Alan Grice, of course, gets a pretty good idea of his own lap times because sitting on the dashboard on the left-hand side there, you can see a little counter, so he knows just how well he's going.
On the tail, out he pulls. Can he make it? Under brakes as they go under this bridge. No, he decides I can't, and Moffat says, no, I'm going to take that line anyway, pal.
We have a good scrap going here between Alan Moffat and Alan Grice. They come along pit straight again. And already passing the 73 Ignis entry as they go up to the left-hander at Hell Corner.
I mentioned 72 was in the pits. John Smith in the Toyota Sprinter. He's about to rejoin the race. After 3 laps, he had something wrong with his fuel system and also a flat battery. Better believe that after only 3 laps. Well, we haven't got a flat battery. We've got a lot more to come. When we were at Jones' car at the back of the pits. Oh, boy, yes. A diff change, and looks like they've had some scrapes of their own. You can see the guys working under the car frantically. Barry Jones, Bobby Morris, bitter disappointment for them in the checkered flag Ghostbusters entry. These were the cars that turned on the most unusual launch of the week here at Bathurst.
Welcome back to the James Hardie 1000. Here's a fellow, a young man in a hurry, a fellow who knows this course pretty well indeed. He's ridden round here quicker on 2 wheels than he has most times on 4, and that's Greg Hansford of Queensland, and doing a steady job at this moment in the Alan Moffat Mazda RX7, the second car. 6th at the moment, and driving superbly. He's been the talk of Mount Panorama all week, Greg Hansford. I think probably young Harry's the most underrated touring car driver in Australia. And he's done so well. He's coming down now past the Steve Masterton 2WS V8 Falcon that's been picked up by the vehicle there. But he's doing the job that's asked of him. He's done well in the Endurance Championship races. Alan Moffat, of course, in the past has always gone for overseas drivers to come to Bathurst and partner him. But I think he's found a rare talent in young Greg Hansford. Quite affable, and he has a big future ahead of him in touring car racing, and I believe international touring car championship racing. Okay, with the race well and truly into the first hour or so, let's take a look at how they are all running on the road as we've had the Castrol scoreboard, a complete rundown, and we'll be doing that through the day for all those people throughout Australia, New Zealand, in fact across the world, wanting to follow your favourite driver. On the track at the moment, we're following Greg Hansford, and Greg, of course, we've mentioned before how well he's doing. Let's take a look at what makes up the racer that we know as Greg Hansford. 32 years of age, from Brisbane, loves tennis, fishing, shooting. He's been in touring car racing for 2 years in the RX7 with Alan Moffat, running in Group C. He's been a regular here at Easter since he went touring car racing. And motorcycles, of course, were Greg's big go for 12 years, winning many Grand Prix races. Winner at Daytona, the 178. Just look at that career record. Doesn't like over-officious officials. That's Greg Hansford, one of the new young lions of touring car racing here in Australia. Here he is coming up into some traffic here, blue flag waving as he goes scooting through. Marshall's car still on the circuit to warn drivers about the Masterton Homes V8 Falcon that's still being picked up by the tender vehicle on the approach to Forest Elbow. Okay, Dick, thanks very much. We'll come back to you a little later on as we now pick up on the pit stop, number 42. It's Greg Hansford coming in through the maze, the new pit entrance road. We do expect there could be a driver change with Alan Moffat stepping into the car now that Moffat has the 43 car out of competition. Here's the pit activity.
No sign of Alan Moffat.
Hansford staying with the car.
And a
very
lightning quick pit stop too. Alan Horsley will be delighted with that. Now they come along the speed humps in the pits, guaranteed to shake your teeth loose. And the quick pit stop for Greg Hansford. He's back on the track. I don't think he's dropped a spot, and he is looking good in the James Hardie 1000. More action when we return to the track. Coming up now, the Stones entry, the Easy Pav entry, Mazda RX7, car number 37, Graham Stones and Ian Stones. And they have done very well, Gary Wilkinson, making it up into the top 10.
Bathurst rookies.
They're doing very well, looking good for Rookie of the Year.
Being passed now by the 05 Commodore. Well, that's to be expected.
Yeah, not surprising, but, well, to be holding down 10th spot in the race with 91 laps remaining and looking strong. I mean, they have not had a problem all day. They've been in no trouble. They've been out there circulating. Everything's running smoothly for them. And really, as Peter Brock knows, that is largely the secret of success around this circuit. And the Stones brothers aren't looking for any outright victory. They're just looking to finish, and looking to finish high in the placings. And at the rate they're going, well, it's looking good for them.
We must thank Castrol for joining us for our telecast of the James Hardie 1000. We have the Castrol scoreboard.
Tony Mulvihill and Brian Nightingale are in the sand trap in their Takiko RX7, and they're there for good. Parked, they can go home, put their feet up.
Try and spin those tyres, and they just dig themselves a deeper hole. I'm afraid that sand is quite deep, so they're going nowhere.
I don't even think a wedge would help you there, Wilco.
My game's not that good.
Well, what a sad end to the James Hardie 1000. Buried there.
Ooh.
He's not upset much.
He got a big cheer from the crowd.
There's one thing that brings you back to earth at Mount Panorama, and that's the Australian race fans. You get out and demonstrate that you're really wild with yourself or your car, they'll bring you back to earth very quickly indeed.
They were running well too in 24th place. It's a disappointment. Let's pick up now on car 44, and that's the checkered flag entry. The Ghostbusters, Peter McKay and Graham Moore.
As we mentioned earlier in the day, they had a rather unusual launch for their car earlier in the week. And they found themselves a haunted house and some Bloody Marys to drink.
They're in 17th position outright, and with 80 laps to go, they could be looking for a close-up finish here.
Well, entered, of course, by Checkered Flag magazine. Phil Christensen, one of Australia's top motoring journalists, finds himself in the role as a team proprietor at Mount Panorama, so his car's doing very, very well indeed.
Well, the Ghostbusters have been given a go by there by Brian Thompson in the big thundering Chevy Camaro V8, and with that sort of power and those speeds, it's no wonder that race times have tumbled over the years here at Mount Panorama, and it's quite interesting, in fact, to just take a look at the way they've come down over the years.
How do you beat the irrepressible Captain Jansen?
Well, a very refreshing attitude in professional sport. He's managing to enjoy himself even if his car isn't running as well as he'd like.
Well, I think Peter Jansen enjoys his racing. We don't see him running the touring car rounds, but he's a regular here at Mount Panorama at Bathurst each year.
On the track, 05, Peter Brock, dealer team Commodore up front, ahead of Dick Johnson in the Falcon, car number 17, and the pair of them have got a lap on the third place getter, and that's George Fury in 15, the Nissan Bluebird, followed by Alan Jones in the Kmart number 8, Commodore.
Welcome back to Mount Panorama at Bathurst. We're following car number 33. And that, of course, is Mike Bergman and Bob Stevens. That's the Daily Planet entry, Mazda RX7. And would you believe this? They started in 39th position on the grid, and they are now making it up into the top 10. So the reliability factor really coming into play for this team. And it's good to see a team of battlers, car prepared by Bob Stevens, who is one of the moving forces within the Australian Racing Drivers Club. And also Mike Bergman, his co-driver, also very much involved with the running of the ARDC. the club, of course, that promotes the Amaroo Park Raceway in Sydney and the James Hardie 1000 at Mount Panorama.